Just like to say a big thank you to the sponsors of this episode, Kinetic Kitchen. Kinetic Kitchen is an award-winning, gluten-free, refined sugar-free and low-carb bakery. Their flagship product is the UK's lowest-carb donut, suitable for celiacs, diabetics and the health-conscious.
With each donut with less sugar than a cherry tomato, more protein than a couple of eggs, and still tastes gobsmackingly delicious, throughout April, you can get yourself 10% off your first order using code BEARS.
Wow. It's now with Jake and Max, one's pod you one stack, who's who you decide is now a guest on the side. Sometimes we scrum and sometimes we maul, but together we're going to bear all. Bear all. Bear all. Welcome. We're season 3, episode 3 of the Barrel podcast. As everyone expects, the hosts are Jake Woolmore and Max Lahiff. But today we've been let down by Max Lahiff. He's about an hour late to our recording, so we've had to crack on because we're busy people. I believe he will turn up at some point. As I've seen it, I'm still waiting on a reply from him to an official apology, but apparently he's got to buy a new car, and I don't know why he's booked that in at the time that we're recording. But so you just stuck with me for the moment. But as you can tell, we've got Max Lahiff in the picture in the background. So anyone that does miss him terribly, which I'm sure there's not many of you out there, there's a little touch of Max with us. So it's down to me for the intros today. It's a tough one because more or less we couldn't find any other guest to come on. So we're stuck with probably my least favourite people at the club. Actually, one of my favourite people, one of my least favourite people. We've got our nutritionist, James Morehen, at Morehen Performance. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, so obviously James is the bane of my life. He's a housemate of mine currently, and constantly puts pressure on my eating habits. But there's a slightly more favourite person at the club. It's probably the first time I've said it in front of him. But we've got Mike here, who's the club chef, or well, club chef probably isn't it? Is it? Was it head logistics?
Chef.
Yeah, executive chef. Head of logistics in the kitchen. Could be the sort of title of that. But
food and beverage manager.
Food and beverage manager. Yeah, I like that. So welcome, lads. Welcome. Would you like to say hello?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, mate. I think after the shout out, how could I not come on? And I think the only reason you settled with us, mate, is because no one outside the club's probably answered their phone to you. So.
Yeah, pretty much. And even the podcast got that bad, the other host doesn't want to turn up. So, but no, lads, look, let's start with, we thought we'd get in a little bit. Just tell us a little bit about yourselves, because you both, obviously, we're all at the Bears together now, but you've all come from slightly different backgrounds, different origins. But I think, James, give us a little insight how you've ended up to the Bears. If you can give me your life in a snapshot of about 45 seconds.
Oh, 45 seconds. So 18 to 21, snowboard instructor in Canada. Had no ambition to be a nutritionist in sport at all. At 21, went to Liverpool John Moores University, studied sports science, then did a master's, then did my PhD in sport nutrition, which was where I was supervised by Professor Graham Close. And then had 3 years in rugby league. So I was looking after professional rugby league players. PhD funding had run out, so then got a job at England football. So I worked at England football with the FA for 4 years. But my real passion for a sport was rugby. So that's where I decided to explore and see what opportunities were out there to get back into rugby, and that's where Graham had linked up with Kev Geary, and the rest is history. I then decided to get back into rugby union. So outside of that, I've supported rugby league players, rugby union, football players, professional boxers. I know your previous guest was Chris, so I support Chris a little bit, and then did a little bit of work with an F1 driver as well. So that's me in 1 minute 30, not 45 seconds.
You know, you've done very well there, actually, because you crammed a lot in.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting to see how actually you've got into the elite game starting quite late, really, haven't you?
Are you elite?
I said the elite game. I didn't say working with me was elite. But yeah, you've got yourself up there through starting quite late you started about 21, which traditionally quite seems as though you didn't have much of an interest before. And then what made you really swing into?
Yeah, I think if I'm completely honest with myself, I wasn't mature enough. I'm still probably not mature enough, but certainly at 18, I wasn't ready for uni. I think there's far too many people actually that finish college, they don't know what to do, so they decide to go to university and not really enjoy it, not really embrace it. Whereas having that 2 year out and growing up a bit, when I was 21, it was something that I really wanted to do, and I wanted to work in sport. I wanted to work in professional rugby, and navigating my way backwards, I then kind of plotted and worked out that to do that, I need to get a degree. Then the masters was a natural progression, and then, to have funding provided for a PhD at the time by the university and the clubs was something quite unique. So I couldn't really turn that opportunity down. So, yeah, it helped me having that delay in my studies. That's for sure.
Nice. It's very interesting. We will crack on because for Mike's just
That's all good, mate.
twiddling his thumbs over there a little bit. But no, so Mike, great story from you, because obviously we poached you from local rivals, Bath, didn't we? You realise you want to come to the better club. But in all seriousness, give us a little snapshot, maybe, similar to what James did, about how you've ended up getting into, well, you've got very good rep at the minute, haven't you? Again, amongst not just in-house, but being top quality, sports chef. And I don't know if you know that, but you get spoke up quite highly, and I'd love to know what your journey was a little bit.
Yeah, so my journey, mate, was I left school very different to James, but for me, I just got an interest in cooking. I never really wanted to be a chef of any capacity. Didn't really know what I wanted to do, in fairness, and I suppose I stepped into fine dining and actually really kind of just grew an interest in that. And for me, it was really cool to work with some pretty high caliber chefs back in Essex and London. And then for me, I done the old classic professional cookery and went through all of that syllabus there 1 day a week. And then I decided to move from east to west and spent a little bit of time in some high-end hotels in Bath and surrounding areas. And I just took an opportunity at Bath Rugby. This is my 12th year now in pro rugby. And then, I took an opportunity, but I think when I sit back and reflect of what performance catering was 12 years ago, it's two worlds apart to what we're doing now. And a lot of the studies and stuff that are now guiding what I do wasn't even around. So, I've been lucky enough and had an opportunity to kind of grow and notice a few gaps in the industry I work within, because that word performance chef is a new discipline to catering. So I suppose just recognising opportunity, and the move to Bears was, again, Bears were able to offer me an opportunity to really step up and step into that performance space. And Bath was class for me, but the one thing that I really wanted to do was focus on performance, because that is the gap I could see in my industry, which is almost untold. And the opportunity to work with James and the facility at Bears is no secret to the training ground of how good that is. And it was just a great opportunity. So I had a good conversation with Pat and Kev Geary and decided to come across. And professionally, it's been a great move for me. I've been able to push on, and I brought my team with me as well. So no, that was in rugby. That's kind of a little summary of where I've come from and what I've done.
I want to get into a bit of digging into a little bit of dirt now, because obviously
your snack cupboard.
We won't talk about that just yet. Actually, my snack cupboard's pretty good.
Mate,
There's not much in there because it often gets eaten.
Yeah, I was going to say, it is empty, but there's crumbs everywhere.
Yeah,
when I first moved in, what I loved was that you used to have it on the middle shelf, but because of my height,
everything's just gone top shelf. Yeah, you can't see anything in there.
But I can from an angle. That's works out. I still see what you've got in the house.
Yeah, but I do. I'm quite honest about it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But most of the time, I ask you if you want some Dominoes when I'm ordering. No, so what I want to do now is I want to get in, because you boys are the face. You're the coal face of the club, really, aren't you? You're always in and amongst it. Obviously, every meal time, Mike, you're either getting some steak or dishing it out.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to talk about, because people are going to want to know who's probably the best eater, who eats the most, any gossip you can get for any of us, who saps the most, and you can't say me.
That's an easy one, no.
Easy one, go on then.
Saps about food.
That is the easy one.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, so
Woody is chief sapper.
because we've got some, I started some monstrous eaters in the club. And I think we spoke about it before. Ed Holmes.
Yeah.
Absolute gannet.
Yeah.
Of a man. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah. Well, he's a big boy, isn't he?
Yeah, I know, but like he consumes
Yeah.
so much food. He sits down with a huge plate, doubles down on bread,
Yeah, soup, double bowl of soup,
double bowl of soup.
collagen jellies, left, right, and centre.
Yeah, yeah.
Couple of juices.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big eater, isn't he?
He stays quite lean with it.
Yeah, but that, again, I'm not trying to take it sciencey, but you think about the energy expenditure of the bloke when he's lifting that amount of weight. You know, decent weight being shifted. And speak of weight being shifted.
Yeah, here he is.
We've just had an arrival. Oh, Maxie boy! Oh, people should see the colour of his face against the colour of his
you
hair.
can see the veins on his forehead. He's that stressed. Look, it's great to have you, Max. Look at this. Come here.
Woosa. It's all right. Yeah, have a donut and cheer up.
It's been a bad
Morale
day.
booster.
But all right, look, how
Good to see you, mate.
are you, Max? Look, we
I'm good now. I'm much better for seeing
You're in
you
here.
wonderful three.
You've got a bottle of water. You're
gosh,
close to a nut
that's
butter.
Yeah.
You feel quite
One of
comfortable.
my favourite nut butters. We had a good time in the bar.
Yes, I'll never forget that. That's a talking point in a bit, that.
Yeah. So, anyway, yeah. Before we get onto that, because we are mid conversation.
Yes, what we were talking about.
We are going to go with. What were we saying? Oh, a bit of talking about some big eaters at the club. We're talking about.
Lads, so, unfortunately, what's ironic about this situation is I was also late for my other podcast for Rugby Pass on Sunday because of the trains, because they flooded the rail.
Yeah.
Another thing out of my control, but anyway. But it's weird saying that because I'm also an unconscientious person, I'd say. But anyway, back to the story at hand. On that particular episode, I had to eat like a very large burger, right, in a time trial with this lovely lady, Kate, and Ryan Wilson. And then had to eat 40 chicken nuggets.
40 chicken.
And I felt God, but Ryan couldn't even finish it. But I felt God awful.
Were they a specific brand of chicken nugget or?
McDonald's.
Golden Arch.
Sweet and sour.
yeah.
It's a barbecue sauce.
You go sweet and sour, do you? Never sweet
But
and sour.
once
for
you're
me.
through
I'm
15,
with you on that, mate.
you get sad. You're like, this is punishment now.
Why was
Just
this?
poultry,
Why was this?
knuckles and like anus?
Why was this challenge going ahead? Like why?
Because the guest was like a prolific food blogger and food eater. Yeah, and also apparently people like to see us suffer.
Yeah. Well, I think we might be having a little dabble later.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you might not want to fill up just yet.
Do you know what's amazing here though? Like Wooly, honestly, has been dribbling, staring at these donuts
I was being
Just
polite.
for about half hour, and then you've walked in, the goddess, and just
Well,
absolutely
you know, I
demolished one.
got manners. You know, you don't start eating until everyone's got their food and everyone's arrived, and then Max just turns up again. Look, it turns up late, smashes donut straight away.
I love it. It's great.
They're very Moorish.
Yeah, I know. I want
Quite
one.
nice.
I want one of these.
Go on, rip in.
Can we start getting cracking into a couple of these?
What's that thing?
These.
Right,
Oh,
hang on. Talk through it.
no,
What is
no.
it?
I reckon I can do the talk.
Come on then, let's see how much you was listening.
Okay. So obviously you're well versed with the Kinetic Kitchen
Yeah.
and nutrition. So these are cinnamon buns, yeah. But do you want to know why they're low carb and how they've done it? They've made a pastry. Yeah?
Almonds?
No, not out of almonds. No, not out of nuts. That's what you think. Out of mozzarella cheese.
Yeah.
This is a pastry,
Buffalo
mate.
mozzarella cheese.
Oh, my science.
From Hereford.
Yeah. Yeah.
God, I'm on the ball, aren't I?
It's good, very good.
And yeah, and I'm gonna actually try one because you've just cracked in straight away. But
I'll
Mate.
try one as well.
Eat that.
And they were freshly baked this morning, lads,
You
as well.
cannot taste the mozzarella. Isn't it weird?
It was good.
it's actually delightful.
Yeah. That's
It's weird, isn't it?
it's one of the products that's actually in retail right now, and
This is a
it's
big
going
seller.
very well.
A big seller.
We've actually had to up production because we keep selling out of these online.
Because we've got 6 here.
Yeah.
How soft is that?
Would you have a coffee with that or a hot chocolate?
Coffee.
Flat white.
That is
A
fascinating. So,
Clifton coffee.
I think you
flat
need.
white.
Yeah, I think you need a milky coffee with her.
Yeah.
But anyway,
so how'd you do that?
Come on, Mike.
Oh, I can't give,
Oh, you can't.
give
Sorry,
away
no.
too
Oh.
much. No, it's a pastry made. It's a pastry made from mozzarella. There's other ingredients in there as well, of course.
Yeah.
And
I'm trying
of
to figure
course,
this out. How would you do that
as-
with mozzarella?
yeah, as Kinetic Kitchen is gluten free, a lot of our products are ground almond based.
So dehydrate the mozzarella, Then
Strangle it.
you strangle it to death. Dehydrate the bastard.
You then
you
chew,
put it.
so you eat some, chew it back out.
Yeah.
Chew it up, back out it comes.
Put it in like a dehumidifier, right?
Yeah.
Then you grind it into like a fine flour. Then you add in a few little other bits and bobs. Next minute, before you know it, you've got. But that would take so much tinkering; it would be nuts to get it right. And Mike's been obsessing over it.
I thought it was gonna be heavier than it is.
I know they're fluffy, aren't they?
It's quite silky. Have you got a bit of silk after that?
And there's no dehydration involved.
It's
either,
just
like-
wonderful fat and
yeah.
Very good.
protein.
Max, you're a bit of an eater at the club, actually, aren't you? You do enjoy the lunches.
Oh yes, today was everyone's favourite day.
I know.
No, I
it's
don't
bad.
enjoy the steak as much. Always overdone.
Yeah. No biting. No biting.
Yeah.
Mate, he's just kicked me under the table.
No, fantastic. Do you know what I did enjoy though? The chicken yesterday, the sweet and sour. I'm not a fan of sweet and sour usually.
But that was done just the right amount.
It was fantastic. But anyway, yeah. So you're a big eater, but you're a bit of a weirdo, aren't you? You go through phases of eating. Like one day you're only eating one meal that's like about 1,000 calories. Next day you're eating 2 meals that are like 7,000 calories.
Yeah, that's about right. I'd
then-
say I go through phases of like that.
Yeah.
He's pretty much spot on.
What's your go-to meal at the moment, Max?
So at the moment, I'm eating like at home. I'll get home and just eat 4 patties, right? Minced meat and offal, 4 eggs, and some fermented vegetables. And then I eat the meals at the club, obviously, because they're delicious.
What fermented vegetables do you go for? So
Right now-
I started trying to bring in a bit of kimchi into my
Yes.
diet because of the
The gut health.
gut health.
So delicious.
Yeah, or I had some sauerkraut. Is that work the same?
It's very
Yeah.
similar. Yes.
Yeah. So
See, you're on it, mate. You do listen.
I do
You
listen.
take it in.
I do listen.
I'm quite impressed the way you was able to recite all of that about the.
It's because like a
yeah,
sponge.
it's very good. Very good.
And like
I'll tell you who's a big eater at the club. I don't think you'll guess this. It goes unnoticed, but I clock it quite often on Mondays when I stay there as well with the women. Dave Ward.
Yes, he's growing.
Isn't he?
He's growing. He's growing
Did you see him
considerably
in that
today.
bit earlier?
Today he was
on the
ref.
pitch earlier.
Yes, I did.
He's been gathering some kind of circumference, hasn't he?
No, he's got it in reverse. I thought you were meant to like sort of squirrel
Yeah.
for winter. He's
No.
doing it back end.
But maybe
He's hitting summer and he's gone
Yeah, but
Derby.
Derby County. But
Honestly.
maybe what he's doing is he's just hoarding the nuts because obviously Mike's just cooking a storm up.
A lot of the staff do complain. They're like, "How am I meant to lose weight when all this is so delicious?"
There's a gym
but-
right
And
next
it's-
door.
Yeah, it's like you're gonna have to go for a walk.
There's a gym next door, but also don't fill your plate like a pig. Like you don't have to put that amount of food on your plate. You can control that. Do you know what I mean? Like when someone picks up the ladle and they go wallop massive thing of rice, like that's their conscious decision. No one's telling you to eat that amount of food.
This is Jimmy. Like, remember when he was talking? Remember when he brought in the filter coffee because everyone was drinking flat white.
Well, I don't think it was
was
everyone.
freaking
There
out.
was a
certain
specific
individual,
person
yeah.
who's left now
Yeah.
who would eat like would drink like he goes, "Oh yeah, I've had this my 13th flat white," and he couldn't work out why.
Well,
he
name
wasn't
names
losing
then.
weight. Nathan Hughes.
Oh yeah, he got big mummo size, didn't he?
But he was eating but he was like, "I'm not eating much," and I was like, "Yeah, but each flat white's like what is it, 150 calories almost?"
Yeah, maybe 200 calories with.
I
with
reckon.
meal.
That's a day. That's a day's an average male's
Correct.
daily intake through flat whites.
I've never seen consumption of it. It
Largest.
was incredible. Every 90 minutes, flat white in his hand.
Largest hip bone in the Premiership at
Yeah.
the time, but potentially in World Rugby.
Yeah.
Like unbelievable skeleton. Bones as dense as adamantium, no doubt. He was ginormous.
Do you remember when James also came in that time and actually gave us an example of what a minimizer
Yeah.
and a maintainer and a gainer
Yeah.
portion of carbohydrates look like?
Why? What did you think?
Well, I thought it was an insult. I was like, "Oh, we're feeding
Why,
children."
Because you were in the minimizer.
Well, obviously, I'm always in the minimizer.
So why was it an insult?
Well, because it was a thimble of food.
Because you're
And
a
then you go,
fatty
"Well,
bubble.
yeah." And he goes, "Well, don't overeat in the evening." Well, I've got to make it up somewhere.
No, Sophie's a feeder though.
100%.
When I first moved in with you, do you remember
Slide
like
over it.
do you remember like the spaghetti? I remember Sophie did a spaghetti dish. Wow, mate! Like she cooked up this dish. Don't get me wrong, it tasted really good, but the quantity of pasta that your partner had cooked up. And I ate it all because I was like, I don't want to be rude here, but I went to bed that night like, ugh.
Yeah.
And I remember saying, Shah, this is.
I told you, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
This is the window where.
This is what I'm battling with. Last night we took the dog out for a walk. Thought a few extra cows, you know.
Yeah.
It was a lovely evening.
Yeah, it was.
Stopped by the shop. Sophie's gone, oh, I need to get some toilet roll. I was like, I know exactly why you're going into the shop. Yeah. Comes out, big pack of biscuits. Yeah. Takes them up to bed.
There we go.
Tries offering them to me. Slapped them out the hand. But
Did you?
said,
though?
not tonight.
Did you? Did you?
Power of choice compels you.
Well, I have to. Otherwise, I'll just go like that.
Yeah,
Don't ask me 3 times.
Yeah.
You know, because I can't.
To be fair
deal
though,
with it.
I was surprised by when you gave us that briefing on like pre-match carb loading. Like, how much have you been through that?
We've briefly touched on this.
yeah. Like, that is weighty amounts of carbohydrates.
Yeah.
How do you find eating that?
Well, no, now I do it with like orange juice and
Yeah,
honey.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
the easier way to do it.
Yes.
But when you were like, let's just do white rice, then you realise you're like, my God, that's
Yeah.
a lot of white rice.
Well, yeah, because,
A lot.
Yeah, because
A
what-
lot of
it's,
stuff,
it's 6 grams of carbs per kilo, isn't it?
it's a lot.
So what's that? So there's 600. Like I'll be pushing what 700 grams of carbs.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
day before. So if we're
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
on a Friday night, then ideally Thursday, like breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, we're hitting around 600-700 grams of carbs.
Yeah.
But like that's what we suggest from the literature. But Max has just nailed it. Like, it doesn't all have to come from food. Like you drink a Lucozade or an orange juice. Or
Chocolate milk.
Yeah, Yazoo, chocolate milk. If you get them in, you can quite quickly bump that up.
A lot of the smoothies and stuff that I label up for you guys, I say M23 on there, that's match 23. So I know that that's got 100 grams of carbs in to 250 to 300 ml of liquid. And again, it's just an easy drink there, but there's a lot of ingredients in there which is bumping up the carbs there.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the new thick strawberry numbers.
Yeah, that's right, the raspberry and yogurt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
they're
raspberry
delightful,
ones, yeah.
yeah.
They are nice.
And they're easy to get in, you lads, and especially
Yeah,
these boys
so
with a
easy.
big target, 600-700 grams, to try and eat 12 jacket potatoes is just not even realistic. So
Yeah, so much starch.
What did you think of the new post-match offering?
Oh my God, that burrito was divine.
Terrible. I don't know who did that.
Don't get me wrong, the katsu was kind of nice, but it didn't survive a microwave well. You know, when you want
no,
to, when you're like post game, you're like still adrenalized, your blood's still in your muscles, you're not that hungry. So you take it home with you, put it in the microwave, and then the nature of the microwave is it can't heat the middle of that like starchy rice nest. So like
the rice is like
lukewarm,
concrete.
Yeah.
The crispy goujons have withered.
Yeah, they're
it's
soaked.
not. Yeah, it's not.
You've lost
but
the
the
panko.
sauce is like molten lava
Yeah.
though. So it's like there's not a balance.
Yeah, you could pour it down a murder hole
Yeah,
after the
yeah.
microwave.
Yeah, it's not great.
So yeah, that burrito,
Burrito
and it's
was
cold,
good.
and it just bangs. Yeah, it was delightful. Great work. I'll be back for more.
I think that's a go-to then,
Yeah,
isn't
no,
it?
I'm in.
Yeah, that was a bit of a shift up, but we trusted ourselves. We thought we'd bring it in.
No, you were
Change
right.
it
You were
up.
right to do it.
Yeah, it was good.
It was lovely.
Like I've heard a story about you two, a little bit. Like it's not that big hitting, but it made me laugh when I heard it because you both give it the geezers from Essex. All right, geez, yeah. And all of a sudden, since you both arrived,
Flanagan.
you've both arrived. Then all of a sudden, other people have started reckoning they're from London and start giving it the geese, like
Who's that?
Suits,
Rands.
Suits, the physio. All of a sudden, like
Yeah.
it was like I thought you were from Kent or something.
Yeah, no, he
Yeah.
No, he's London, isn't he?
Yeah, well, that's what he portrays. And honestly, he treated me for 3-4 years, yeah? These two turned up. And
then
then
it
once I
went
saw him,
downward.
he literally was like a scene from EastEnders. Couldn't believe it. I was like, well, you...
Danny Dyer.
Yeah, I was like, all right, geez, yeah. I was like, where's this come from? Yeah,
The Ebenezer, Bacardi Breezer.
Yeah, I was like, you lot. Yeah. So then, but what I've heard this morning actually about these two. Yeah. So apparently, obviously they're both in the professional business, aren't they? They both think they're like sort of
Oh, yeah.
Where's
They're
he
at the
going?
apex of the
You know what-
pyramid.
Yeah, all this mentorship.
yeah.
Could well be
James,
made up.
James is always doing his Instagram like, yeah, look, nutrition, join my mentor scheme, all that sort of stuff.
Bring Chris in.
Yeah. And then, but I heard because obviously these two sort of like knew each other before the Bears, didn't they? Loosely, apparently.
Yeah, loosely.
So apparently, I think their first phone call with each other, they've both given it like the. Yeah, everyone's got a telephone voice. Yeah, it's Oh yeah, hi Mike. Yeah, it's James here. Like talking about and then
Yeah,
it got down
turns
there.
it back.
They both apparently all very much. And then all of a sudden it was like, so where are you from? He's like, yeah, well, I'm from Essex. And he went, oh, General on geese, yeah. And apparently just. Is there any truth in
Just an
that?
Essex bomb.
Yeah, there might be some truth in that.
Just
I
ramped
think.
it up.
No, I think we first kind of we spoke social media and stuff just through just mutual discussions, and then we actually caught up on Zoom during COVID, and then we worked out. Yeah, there's a bit of truth in that, Willie. I don't know. This is quite as exaggerated.
He's more Essex than me because I'm technically Colchester, which is Essex, but it's close to Suffolk.
Yeah.
We're a garrison town. He's Brentwood.
Yeah.
So if there's anyone you see in the background of Towie, it's this one, like hovering in the background, pretending to cook up.
Yeah.
You're
Is that
Essex.
you? Did you get do any Towie work maybe?
Do you know anyone from Towie?
No, I don't actually, because Towie sort of become a thing after I moved out. But I will say this, so I don't tell many people this, and I don't think it's probably a good thing to say here, but the Sugar Hut is the place all these people from Towie go. And I used to work in there. It was the first ever kitchen I worked in. So it was called the White Hart many years ago. And I used to wash up there when I was a kid, mate. So just in the weekends and
Kitchen boy.
stuff.
Yeah.
And then it became the Sugar Hut. But yeah, that's about as close to Towie as I got, lads.
Fair enough.
Thanks, fame.
Wait, so did you go to a cooking school?
Yeah, that's it. So for me, I did day release to college. So I was working in hotels and restaurants, and then back then you went to college 1 day a week, and I did that for 4 years. So I went through all of that professional cookery syllabus. So that's what you did. Now it's all modern apprenticeships and stuff like that, and you're training within the workplace, which I think is much better. But yeah, it was a while ago when I was at college, mate.
So what sort of got you into performance cheffery?
Just opportunity, Max. You know, when the job I took at Bath, it was very, like I was saying earlier, that what performance catering was 12 years ago was very different to what it is now. So again, it was just I've been a part of a process that's continued to grow, and I've been able to develop myself, and then working with people like James has upskilled me, and I've done a bit of leadership and management qualifications and stuff like that. So yeah, I think growing with something that's continually growing is just right time, right place. It's probably an easy way I'd put it.
Yeah.
Going into that, so now you've gone from that to this in my hand here.
Oh.
So this is something that Mike's quite frothy about.
Yeah.
So what's
He's been to bar chocolate.
So this is a new Kinetic
Would you like to
Kitchen
try some?
product.
This is another Kinetic. We're just
Not many people
plugging
have
them
tasted
left,
this, lads. Not many people have tasted
We're
this.
plugging them left, right, and
We
rhubarb
are
at the minute.
pioneers.
But I want to see, because obviously this is stuff you do, don't you? You do
Yeah.
quite exciting things like this.
Yeah.
So this is, what does bean to bar mean?
It's incredibly smooth.
We're taking, this is a 63% cocoa mass chocolate, and we are making this in Bristol. Oh, I've got it in my mouth and try to talk at the same time.
Mike's just getting really upset about his chocolate bar here.
That's good.
It's all right, mate. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Right, now I can talk. So we're taking cacao nibs, and we are conching our own chocolate, and conching is the name that you grind chocolate, and then we set it and we temper it, and this is what you've got here. So this is a product that we are going to be launching soon, and we're also going to be turning this into brownies as well. So this is going to be the chocolate base to our gluten-free brownies, which are coming very soon as well.
That's actually delightful, because I've tasted some.
It tastes a lot richer for 63 though. Don't you think that tastes quite dark?
It is very dark, yeah, it is.
But not too dark.
Yeah, but if you go like Lindt,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
That's actually delightful, because I've tasted some sort of low carb,
Yeah.
keto friendly chocolates in the past, and I've not really.
I think the reason why we started making chocolate was because we've always wanted to do a brownie, and buying low carb products is quite expensive, and then getting them organic is even more difficult. It's very difficult to find an organic chocolate. So we just discussed it, and we'll make our own. So we're buying organic cocoa beans, and then we're going through that chocolate process. So, but this is being made in Bristol. Nice and close.
So do you get just the bean, or do you get like the weird cacao thing? And then
No,
you have
so
to peel it?
we're buying beans.
Just the beans.
Yeah, we're buying beans. Yeah.
And then do you roast? Are they already? Do you have to roast them?
Yeah, there's a bit of process
Yeah.
involved in that. Yeah, there's a bit of process involved. and yeah, that's it. But this is fresh off the press. So this is gonna be launched very soon. We're just working our way through the ingredients
Exciting.
list.
It's a unique taste, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I like it a lot.
I like it though.
Lads, you must know on the inside scoop of the change room, like who's got absolutely terrible nutrition habits.
I don't know if I want to throw him under the bus.
Yeah, this is what the podcast is all about.
Yeah.
There's a
Wait,
couple.
wait.
There's a couple. Are they, like
What does his name sound like?
Shan Shomas.
Oh, really? Is it bad?
You say that. I was thinking of him.
Yeah, but like what I'm saying is like boys they eat pretty well, but I know like there's no one that's absolutely terrible.
I feel like the guys with kids eat the worst.
Yeah, but I think that's just
But that makes sense.
that's perks of the job, isn't it?
Experience,
Yeah. It's like even if you eat
Turkey
as clean,
dinosaurs.
yeah, there's gonna be turkey dinosaurs and potato smileys left over.
Yeah.
You're not throwing them in the bin.
It's weird that we have to feed kids charismatic food, by the
Yeah.
way. Why don't they just eat normal? I don't know. Sorry, that's a rant for another day.
Yeah. I don't want to get down that.
Yeah,
This is a parenting podcast.
Good guy who both don't have kids.
But there's
anyway.
there are a few that I'm questionable about. But it's like it just feels like they never shook some of
Andy Uren.
the childish habits that they had as
Andy Uren.
Andy Uren can't eat anything without a
Yeah.
litre of tomato ketchup,
Yeah, that's just.
and then moans about
pathetic,
his
isn't it?
skinny.
He nearly protested when we took ketchup away at the start
Yeah.
of pre-season.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Just needs
he's
sugar and vinegar.
Yeah, oh mate, it's like you might as well just have ketchup soup and then dip his dinner in it.
Yeah, I heard he gets like a lot of cake as well. West
he?
Country is like West
Yeah.
Country mafia. Cake is just.
Yeah, he can't avoid it when he goes for a coffee with
Yeah.
his partner. That's
Oh,
the
I love a
problem.
cake.
Yeah,
love a
yeah.
little carrot cake. Ooh.
And then
So he spends half his life on the spark. to
yeah,
to-
to counter, yeah. It's like you just don't have. Just makes a better decisions. You won't have to spend 40 minutes on
Yeah.
cardio machine every afternoon.
True.
I know Dan Thomas is partial to like crisps. Like
Yeah, but he just eats like. Have you seen his plates of food? They're just beige.
yeah, he is very
Isn't
much
it weird,
beige.
like-
Bread, butter, chicken breast.
Oi,
I've never
he
seen a
doesn't-
man eat so much sourdough.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
goes.
but have you
through
noticed
it,
we
doesn't
like slices it? He doesn't slice it like a
Yeah.
normal person.
Chunks,
He's
like
got a wedge.
It's like,
kilos.
Yeah,
it's
wait,
like the
wait.
term of
Doorstop.
the term doorstop.
Yeah.
Like he's like bang,
Yeah.
and it's butter, and he really takes his time with it as well. Like he's there like buttering it.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
I feel like Shido's a bit. He's a bit like he likes the treats of the palate as well.
Yeah, but again, I always found that he's a little bit like. Again, I've had many experiences. He's lived with me in the past, and that, and I had to teach him how to cook like sausages
okay.
and that. And I, yeah, like he didn't know. Like he walks
Teach
in.
him how to
It was
cook
deliberate.
sausage.
Yeah.
You know, he walked in and was like, do you know how to cook these chipolates? And I was like, what chipolates? Like sausages. Just put them in the oven. Surely some of the easy stuff you
180
could
for
do.
25 minutes.
And I'm sure he cooked a pack of 10 and just ate them for dinner, the whole 10.
When did you and She's live together?
Jersey.
Back in the Jersey days,
Oh,
yeah.
Jersey
He came on
boys.
loan from Bristol, slept on my bedroom floor for a while. I think we've discussed that many times on the podcast, but yeah,
fair.
slept on my floor. But yeah, he was. When you look at some of the young lads and how they need educating, I like took it upon myself. I was like, I'm gonna teach him just how to cook a roast chicken.
Yeah.
Because at least then, like,
Yeah,
that's a
you
couple of
can't go
meals.
wrong with
Yeah,
that,
like
yeah.
he's gonna get. So I took him through step by step. It's not obviously very hard,
Yeah.
but it was like, well, if he doesn't know how to cook a sausage,
Yeah.
we'll start with some basics. But yeah, but some of these lads, they never. I don't think. I feel like we're really throwing them under the bus. They've made massive gains since then, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's a few habits.
There's a few guys who are just metabolically quite sensitive who can get away with it. I feel like Ed Holmes eats like a Labrador, a frenzied Labrador.
yeah. We were mentioning that earlier.
And it's all good. Whatever goes down the hatch works out.
Yeah,
It's fine.
I don't know how he does
He's
it.
a weird athlete, isn't he?
Him. And do you know who else who loves a bit of cake and loves drinks like cappuccinos for fun and still shredded as
Thacker.
Thacker.
I know.
I don't know how he does it.
He-
I hate.
He loves snacking.
Is he active out
He's
the
a
club? though? He's
snacker.
pretty active, isn't he?
Oh, no, he works
is,
hard. Hell of an
But
athlete,
like, do you know
yeah.
what I mean? We'll go for a coffee, and I'll go. I'll have a short black, please. You know, I won't have a cake today. You know, and then he goes, I'll have the honey nut crunch. I'll have 2 cappuccinos.
Yeah, half a litre of
Yeah,
cappuccino.
you know, how are you doing this?
Yeah. But he's
Yeah.
got his skateboard. He skateboards around Bristol, doesn't he?
Yeah. He skates.
Yeah. He's
Well, he's got the kids
He's active
outside.
in the club. He trains hard, though, doesn't he?
He does
To be
train
fair.
very
He does train very
He's
hard.
a good trainer. He is a
But
good
that's what I
trainer.
was going to ask you. So some athletes, calories in, calories out, are completely different subjectively. So when someone says, like, let's talk about someone prolific, James Smith, calories in, calories out, that's all it is, all right, to get body composition. But that's not the same for everyone, is it? In terms of how do you get like that? I know it comes across as this binary thing,
Yeah.
But I feel like it's not an exact science because other people are metabolically sort of slower or less sensitive.
It can't be because I've done that before.
Are you giving Jake the answer that he needs?
Calories in,
I just want your insight as a
because when I've
nutritionist.
done that, yeah, and if I just go straight calories in, calories out, yeah, and I go low calories, my chest will wither, my love handles double. I literally look like a pair on legs.
Or you
and that, lose your beautiful pipes.
Yeah, it's like I've only got a couple of things going for me.
Yeah.
And it's usually
The seps.
the chest and arm combo.
Yeah.
But then as soon as calories in, calories out doesn't work, so I have to like eat protein yogurts like they're like
Yeah, your
going out of
glutes are in
fashion.
your obliques, aren't they?
Yeah, like I actually look like someone's punched my glutes into my lower back.
the descriptions here are crazy, and one that you have said to me before is a melted wheelie bin.
Yeah.
Which I love that. Like,
Yeah,
such
I
a
wouldn't
good
put myself in that
No,
category.
you're not a metal wheelie.
No, there's a few lads.
Feedy.
Yeah, Lewis Steed was a melted wheelie.
But he was
bin.
actually kind of a good athlete.
He
Like,
was,
he was
yeah,
strong.
yeah. I don't know how he functioned on because he again was terrible diet,
Awful.
terrible diet.
He was a stress eater,
yeah.
and he was under a lot of stress.
2 litre Lucozade Energy, the fizzy one,
Yeah.
every night.
Wow.
Hey, that'll
He'd-
get your
and he'd
pancreas
give a
working.
sip to his
Yeah,
dog.
Jesus. Reminds me of like Keenan and Kel. Orange
Yeah,
soda.
and he, but then again, he somehow functioned on it. He wasn't peaking, but
Yeah, so what's your retort to that?
yeah, sorry.
Yes. Look, I think fundamentally, the accurate measurement of energy expenditure from what you're expending every single day is really difficult to do. It's really quite difficult to measure that because, one, you've got your resting metabolic rate, and then above the resting metabolic rate, we have normally thermic effect of food, which is about 10% of your total.
Yes.
So how many calories do you burn by consuming, absorbing, digesting nutrition? Then on top of that, you have the non-exercise activity.
Walking upstairs.
Yeah, which is
Walking
like,
around.
we call it NEAT. So that's, you panicking earlier and trying to rush down here to get on the podcast in time. And then on top of that, you have exercise activity thermogenesis, which is EAT. So you've got 4 components of energy expenditure. How many calories do we all burn in a 24-hour window? To accurately measure that is very difficult because you need to find out what your resting metabolic rate is, you need to go into a university or a private clinic and get a substrate utilization test. There are predictive equations out there, but they're predictive in nature. And then to actually know what you're expending during training and or gym-based sessions, all of these are predictions, right? So then if that's quite difficult to measure, in human physiology, what's even more difficult to measure is exactly how many calories you're consuming. Because although we've got a brilliant nutrition set up at the club now, we don't know exactly how many calories are going into each meal unless we start weighing out every single meal. We weigh out certain meals, but not every single meal. The Food Standards Agency have a threshold on the labelling of nutrition on products.
So it's allowed to be a leeway
Yeah,
either way.
because how on earth can some of these pizza chains at the moment, that like all restaurants display calorie content of meals, but how on earth can that pizza chain say that this meat feast has got exactly 627 calories, and then the chef makes another meat feast, he might put another bit of salami on there. So they can't all be exactly the same. So the measurement of expenditure and intake is really, really difficult to do, and that's why, combined with people's own metabolic rate, it's that's why some people might struggle with it, because they're just really getting the mismatch wrong. That's where trying to track a little bit what you're consuming will give you a better insight into your total calorie intake, and you'll know soon. You'll know quick enough. If I'm starting to track my calorie intake and I continue doing the training that I'm doing and I'm not losing weight, I'm probably still overeating, or I need to up the exercise by 20 minutes over the week. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've maintained my weight for about 6 years, and I've never calorie counted. I just kind of know
what's right for you.
Correct. Yeah. So I think when people, like the boxers are the greatest example. Like when Chris was on, Chris now 8 weeks out from a camp, he'll be getting ready to cut weight, gradually lose weight over time, and so we'll purposely bring his calorie intake a little bit lower than what he's expending, and we're in daily comms, we're checking his weight, and that weight is just trickling down, 200 grams, 300 grams.
What sort of calories are you letting him have in camp? Because obviously that's his hardest training.
Yeah, it's about 3,500.
Oh, that's still pretty good.
Yes, so he's still eating well.
Yeah.
But he also trains very hard.
Yeah,
and he's got all
good.
the activity stuff, so he's he has a ballpark figure as to I am expending X amount. So I know that if I consume 3.5 and it's roughly telling me 4, I'm 500 calories below, happy days. So we actually say, like, if someone wants to gain skeletal muscle mass, 500 calories above is like a good amount to be having, which is like a high dense smoothie or a small meal extra a day. If someone wants to gradually lose fat mass, 500 calories below. If you put yourself in a hole too quick, that's where you start potentially losing a bit of skeletal muscle mass. And it's very difficult to sustain that, which is why when people do Slim Fast or Weight Watchers or they go on these crash diets, it's very difficult to sustain that.
Significant lifestyle change.
This is where working with an individual athlete becomes, you're able to give it that kind of clarity there, and you're really able to drill into it. Team sport is, when there's 55, 60, maybe 70 players, trying to individualize everything on an individual level is where it becomes a bit tricky. So, this is where the free strategies come from and the signage that we put out. And it is a lot easier to work accurately with an individual, like James is currently with Chris.
So, one last question. Sorry, with the food, how have they established how much calories are in a certain food? So they burn it. Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
And they measure the heat off of it.
Yeah. So you can actually send products away into. You'll like this. It's a bomb calorimeter. So you put the food into the device and it basically ignites, and it's measuring the unit of energy to heat up and burn that component of food in there, and then that will give you the amount of calories that are in that unit of food. So it's quite a clever thing to do, and that's how they begin to decide, or not decide, but that's how they'll start labelling stuff up from a food point of view. But also, like, if we know that there's 2 or 3 ingredients within the dark chocolate, and we know that 100 grams of X equals X amount of calories, then it's just a matter of working out that recipe and then working out the calorie content, which you guys at Kinetic Kitchen, you do all of that yourself.
So when you buy things commercially, it will have the nutritional value to it. So it's just as simple as tracing it back to the ingredients and then the amounts, so you can almost transfer the nutritional information. You got to trust the source, and you got to be a little bit careful with that. There's a couple of grey areas to be aware of, but that's effectively what we do.
That's a bit nutty, isn't it? That correlates with the human physiology. That a bomb calorimeter, basically burning food, correlates with how your body digests it.
And that's why it's when I've worked with people and they're like, yeah, I consume 1,976 calories a day. I'm like, no, you don't. Like, it could be a lot lower, it could be a lot higher. You've got no idea, really. Like, you've got a ballpark figure, but to actually nail the calories is very, very difficult to do, which is why we suggest to you lads, where possible, try and focus more on a macronutrient intake, i.e. 1.6 to maybe 2.5 gram per kilo of protein per day. If you're paddy and you're trying to put that weight on, it's probably 2.5. When Sam Jeffries was injured, we whacked him up to about 3 gram per kilo of protein a day, so that he was getting shed loads to look after the skeletal muscle mass he had, whilst trying to repair the fact that he'd undergone major surgery on his leg. And then that's where kind of the periodization of the fuel, 2 to 3 gram per kilo of carbs, maybe on a lighter day. It's a lot easier to do that with macro composition rather than trying to nail like total calories.
Okay.
So yeah.
To be fair though, Sam Jeffries didn't need it, did he? He came back like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Terminator 2.
Again, he's another one.
Yeah.
He's absolutely shredded, and he goes, yeah, I just eat a whole malt loaf every night.
That's weird, isn't it? The malt loaf's weird. The saurine.
A bit of butter in that. He goes, no, he peels it. He eats it like a banana. Peels the packet and just holds it.
Saurine loaf at 4. I'm like, what?
Yeah. And he
Every
goes,
day.
He used to tell you, because for me to maintain weight, I just go down to the co-op and I get an American style cheesecake and I eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I hate you.
Yeah.
I would love to be in that.
Is that it? It's a smelt cake and I put on 2 kegs.
Yeah. I have seen some funky stuff in rugby though. Like, do you remember Matt Garvey, RPA rep?
Yeah.
So I lived with him.
He's a large boy.
Yeah, he fell short of the calipers a few times.
Yeah.
Matt Lovell back in the day, Laurent Bannock as well, actually. And they could always grab an accommodating pinch. He was like a huge like Jello sculpture at one point. Big man. Anyway, I lived with him, and I got insight into his diet and how this all happened. Bro, he brought back some incredibly bad habits from his time at St Mary's University. He was eating Maryland's cookies with full fat milk as a breakfast cereal. So he'd break up.
Oh, do you know what?
He'd break up a bag of Maryland's cookies in the bowl, and then just like, yep, all good.
Wow.
I was whoa, big fella.
I just tell you something. So on the weekend, I did something a bit similar.
A bit roly.
I was like, I didn't have much in, and I was hungry. And again, I did the old, didn't have much for breakfast. I didn't have any breakfast. I had a bit of a line, got out, and then it was about just gone midday.
And you were just a bit peckish.
A bit peckish. I've looked in the cupboards, there's nothing good in anyway.
Oh yeah, nothing.
And I was like, I have to make a smart decision here. And so in my cupboard, I had a box of brown flakes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't have much milk.
Okay.
But I had a Tom Parker.
Oh, nice.
A chocolate
Very good.
Tom Parker.
And with the brown flakes.
And I had a bowl of brown flakes, which I thought
Why
was the
brown
healthy
flakes?
option, because they were all I had.
Why do you have brown flakes?
Because I quite like a brown flake.
Really?
For digestion.
I thought they were just there in the supermarket as like
Yeah, but I quite like it.
a thing.
Yeah, I quite like things like
They
that.
just sit there.
Yeah, and I was like, so I did that big bowl as well. 2/3 of the Tom Parker.
Wow. It's a good calorie breakfast, isn't it?
Yeah, that's delightful.
Yeah, and yeah.
And I just
It
hit
was
something, and you were like,
delightful.
"I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah, I
This is a
enjoyed it
nice
too
creation."
much. Yeah, well, I was hoping it would be
And you were like-
terrible because I was like, I don't want to have to do this again.
to do this again. Yeah, just crying into your
Yeah, and I was like,
I hate myself.
and I was like, I did get on the assault bike later on that day though,
Did
because
you?
I was like,
Yeah, you've been after it recently, actually.
yeah, summer's coming.
Yeah, fair play.
5 weeks.
You are on it.
Did you know though that like modern day supermarkets, right, are like 60% of the food in them you'll never find in the natural world? Isn't that spooky? It might be more than 60% actually. Like 70% of our food is so overly processed that you'd never ever see it.
Some of the most processed is the nicest though, isn't it?
I know, but that's because we've tried to. Let's go down the rabbit hole. That's because we tried so hard to appease like the hedonic nature of our palates.
Yeah.
And then you look around the world and everyone's like lit up with autoimmune conditions through the wazoo. Like it's just on the rise every year. Year on year, humans are getting more ill.
I did find when I went through a bad patch nutritionally,
You felt.
emotional eating, it must be. I was eating quite bad.
Did you pull those away from me?
Yeah, because you've had enough.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, but that chocolate one, I haven't tried that one
And,
yet. He's looking real nice,
yeah.
like.
When my diet went down to the pits,
Yeah.
I've never had knee issues. My knees were on fire constantly.
Inflamed.
Yeah. But all right, on that note, talking about dieting and that, how many calories is one of these bad boys?
Oh, because we need to
Yeah,
clean them up.
that's
What's
a-
this thing?
Oh,
Oh,
they're
these look
different.
even better.
Yeah, so there's...
all right,
Are we challenging?
this is a challenge. I'm not sure how to go about it. What do you reckon, Mintos? Are we going? Is it me or I'd like to take bets. I'd like to take some bets. So there's 12 donuts here. Yeah.
Okay.
Some of Kinetic Kitchen's finest.
And some of what? Oh, some of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of their finest work.
They're particularly arty today.
There's
shut
there's
up.
6 donuts each there.
We got to smoke them all.
Well, I reckon we go. How many do you reckon you could do in a minute? Well, I would like to see who do you think is winning a race in a minute. How many donuts we can get back?
I've already had 2. But
And that's your fault.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
go. I'm
That
gonna
is my
back Woody
fault.
here.
I don't know what that
So
says
is it-
about me.
Is it how many you can eat in a minute?
Yeah.
Do you reckon you could do all 6 in a
I
minute?
don't know. They're pretty good mouthful, but
So that's good going, isn't it?
Accepted.
10 seconds a donut.
so we going 3 and 3, or do you want that box and I'll do this
I
box?
I don't really mind, old boy. Which ones are tickling your
I think
fancy?
they're going to manage 4.
4.
Yeah.
Who's
Yeah.
winning
I
this?
think we're. I need a
I'll-
refill of
I
water.
have to,
I need
Nah,
I need lubricant.
No, you got going dry. Let's go.
I have to vote for my housemate.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Can we get a timer up, maybe? Is there a timer on the screen? The
Yeah.
box. Sorry, yeah, we didn't show. Look, some of
Look how
the
pretty
finest
they look.
work you've seen,
God, they're like a jewelry box.
Keto nuts.
and they smell delightful. All right, so we got. This is not a donut. This is a keto nut. All right, and we're gonna see how many we can get done in a minute.
About to go full keto.
We've got a timer there. All right, so you're backing me.
I'm back.
Yeah,
Woody.
let's go, Max.
Right, fair. We're split.
Big dirty Mike. He's gone.
Are we ready?
Count us down, Mentos.
3, 2, 1.
Go.
Oh, wow. Wow.
He's done that before.
Willie's just demolished one.
That's it. I got no water.
Oh, wow. So we're 12 seconds in. Wooly started his second. For those that are not watching the video, we're now 20 seconds in. Wooly's finished the second.
You want to watch your hand there, mate?
Maxi,
That's incredible. That's resume.
are you still on your first, Max? Oh, wow. I think we've got cement in the mouth right now. So we've got we're halfway through.
I think I can go warmer than that.
So Woolmore is starting his third, just about, and we're at 45 seconds.
Oh, God.
Maxi's going in second. Here we go. The sounds.
Wow, these ones are so good.
Yeah, so that's the hazelnut.
Yeah. 3 seconds left.
2, 1.
These are amazing.
2.5.
Wow. So what we've got here is Woolmore has done 2.5.
Yeah, that's my bad.
And
I
Max-
shouldn't have eaten the other 2 donuts.
Have you done 2, Maxi?
No, this is 1 and...
One and a half.
That.
So we'll just give them a bit
This
of
is,
time to swallow
Yeah,
that.
so that's
This is impeccable.
a dark chocolate and hazelnut. That's one of our
Is that
best
the new
sellers.
That is amazing.
That's one we've been doing for a while, but that's one of our best sellers there. And that's
Fair.
the
This
so
is
the
so
ring of
delicious.
nut butter in the top of that is the blends hazelnut
Yeah,
flavour.
that's doing stuff for me.
Wow. Did you eat that
That's
one?
vegan as well.
You
The
demolished
ones
it.
you just
That
ate
was
there are
harder than I
vegan-friendly.
thought it was going to be.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you feel right now?
Fantastic. Strong. Stronger than I've ever
I
been.
feel like I'm in ketosis. Are you ketogenic right now? I'm ketogenic.
Yeah. So,
I'm special K.
do you know what? I've absolutely smoked Max there because he's tried to be quite posh and that on camera with it, I think.
No, that's not why. It's because I had those 2 donuts and that cinnamon bun. My bad. You would argue.
Work smart.
Yeah.
Not hard.
But that was nice of you to pull the box away from me when I went for that other
Yeah,
chocolate
I
donut.
thought I'd give you a chance.
Give me a chance.
My
otherwise I'd have been
indecision
dust.
is I went for the one with the nuts on top, which was fantastic, but it became harder to chew.
Yeah, a bit crunchy.
That's
It's
the,
not the speed donut.
That is not that.
It's one of
That's
my
that's
favourites,
shrapnel.
that, mate.
That's shrapnel
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
the way down.
and I made an error, but I'm bloody fantastic.
it's quite impressive that.
Could an
mate, to be
athlete,
fair.
could a rugby player effectively pull off being in ketosis and be effective?
Personally, depends on the time of the week. So I think if you look at the 72 hours around a game, like we know from the literature, we know from muscle biopsy studies that fueling up, having carb availability, glycogen within the muscle is going to be key for high intensity performance. Could you go ketogenic on a recovery day where activity is not that much? Potentially, but to go truly ketogenic, you have to be in ketosis, and to be in ketosis, that's where you need to start releasing the ketones naturally within the body, and to do that actually takes a number of days where you're consuming less than 50 grams of carbohydrate per day.
Yeah.
And if you actually speak to anyone who's been in ketosis, it's not a nice place to be, really, because
Yeah, but some guys speak of it like it's the only place to be.
Yeah.
Mental clarity through the roof.
Yeah,
I feel
correct,
amazing.
yeah.
All my aches and pains are gone.
but it's like with anything, isn't it? There's always kind of two sides.
Sort of glamorized.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the thing with food as well, and I always say this, every single person consumes food, so every single person rightly should have their own opinion on food. Not everyone trains, not everyone cycles, not everyone plays rugby, but everyone eats.
Yep.
And with that, everyone will have an opinion on what's right, what works for me. You know, I saw this on social media, I saw this paper. So it's kind of our job as performance nutritionists to help you guys to filter through some of that and say, hey, look, I think personally as a nutritionist, carbs are going to be important for you boys to have the best game of rugby you can. But yeah, there's probably a time and a place for something like that. Would it have a bit of a knock-on effect in terms of immunity, or trying to hold on to all of your skeletal muscle mass, trying to do bench press PRs or personal bests in the gyms? Probably going to struggle when you're proper low keto.
Interesting.
Counteract that. I hit a bench PB while I was doing a ketogenic diet.
I'll challenge
I don't
to
believe you.
see whether you were true keto.
Yeah, he wants to see your
Well, I was
ketones.
as close to
He
it.
wants a P test to see if your ketones are there.
Less than
Blood
10 grams.
samples.
Less than 10 grams of carbs a day. I was doing bloods at the time. Again,
I've got a question for you
break my
boys.
finger.
Because seeing the away food sometimes. What's the best away food in the league, and what's the worst?
Well, it used to be Bath. Unlucky
we
for them.
Yeah, who puts on like great post-match food and who doesn't?
Northampton used to be particularly special. I can't remember the geezer's name.
You have to remind me what you get.
We've got another geezer in the building.
A geezer.
Geezer.
But he was good. But now we don't do those. Now they
Yeah,
just
so
send
we
in
haven't had food like that
since
in a long
COVID.
time.
It's gone now. We don't even get to sit.
We just get.
Yeah, they just send a little heated trolley in.
Yeah,
and
with
they're
like
like
a pizza in a
"Here,
box
have
or
your-
like a wet burrito. Or
have your sweaty lasagna.
I think the days of meals and buffets and stuff is
Yeah,
done,
it's
isn't it,
true,
with the
isn't
post-match food?
That's
It's
so
a shame.
sad.
It's a shame.
What's the time, by the way? Sorry.
Yeah, I know you're gonna have to rush off. On that note, we're gonna start closing things down. But the way
I
we're
just
gonna,
need to know the time. That's all.
I don't know the time.
4:05.
What
I've still got time.
what we're gonna do though is
Still got ages.
again, because you both generously gave up your time today, I wanted to just know a little bit because you two are very figures in lots of pies, things you've got going on. I know a little bit about what you go on, but we just do a little bit of just to see us out, just a little bit of like what you got going on at the minute, other than Kinetic Kitchen stuff. Where can you be found? Not your home address.
Ashton Gate.
But you know, on your social medias and that, because you two both got very active
Online presence.
online presence. You with
Jimmy's got a book.
Jimmy's also got, but all right, let him. I didn't ask you for this, did I?
Sorry.
It sounds better when Max.
Yeah,
does it.
and obviously, Michael, some of your recipes and that we've poached off your Instagram. I do a lot of at home now, and I believe it's be a great insight for other people. So if you just give us a little bit, whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm most active on Instagram, and that was a platform I created just to support athletes of professional calibers and amateur, and that's Chef Mike Bache. And then yeah, I'm pretty active in a mentorship program as well, which I've recently started, and that was more of an individual development platform I've created just to support bridge the gap between a nutritionist and a chef. I'm working with business owners, nutritionists and chefs right now. And yeah, it's something I started. I stole the idea off of James, but actually, upon reflection, it's just me supporting individuals, using my experience and skill set there. So, and I'm also doing some private consultancy as well around and outside of Bears, which I'm doing in my own time and around the requirements of what I do at Bears.
Yeah. So for me, obviously, do the role at Bristol Bears here, and then I'm also the nutritionist with the England Roses. So I've been doing that for about 14 months now, which is class. Challenging me in a different way, working with the female athlete, because my whole career really has worked with the male rugby player.
Sorry, that's quite interesting. Could I get some insight on what would significantly change between the two genders in terms of nutrition?
Yeah, it's a good question actually, because the reality is the research right now within the female elite athlete is nowhere near to what it is in male athletes, and
okay.
the question is actually currently not really known.
So get more data rather than act on the data.
Correct, yeah.
Got
So
you.
you've got some of the leaders in, professors in the space now that are, there's a bit of a call to action, like researchers that have access to high-level female athletes that can do this research. Like, we need to go and do it, because we don't really know what the difference is. There's, clearly there's, differences in human physiology and etc. But to actually bespokely design and implement a nutrition strategy that's unique to the female athlete, we're not quite there yet. There are a few things that we can adjust, but it's even little things, just behavior change, nutritional habits. Like, men and women just think differently about food. Like, the social side of food is different, and I'm not saying one is worse than the other, but disordered eating,
Careful now.
eating disorders. Like, there's just, the reality is you're just working with a different gender. So that's learning for me. But it's been amazing. Like, the Roses girls are incredible. Like, they want the education, they take it all on board. So that's been great. And then I also have got my own business, so I work with different individuals, whether it's professional boxers. I support Chris Billham Smith, just nailed his world title fight date today, which is class.
Previous
So,
guest of ours as well.
yeah, and
Legend.
there's already
Legend.
been a handful of you that want to go down and support him, which is class. So professional boxers, and then just other clients in and around London. Really, I've got a recent role supporting a oil broking firm in London, which is fascinating because these are desk people that sit at a desk for 16 hours a day trading oil, and their nutrition habits are terrible. So trying to help these guys understand what nutrition is and how it can keep them at the desk for longer so that they can trade more money. Like, that's a completely different area for me. So that's quite interesting. And then last night I finished the final chapter of book 2, and that's all about performance nutritionists in the industry and how they've gone on their own journeys to getting into roles at the elite level of sport and what those journeys look like. So that's a bit of a passion project of mine alongside the mentorship, where I help other junior nutritionists in the industry kind of learn from my mistakes, my lessons, where I can provide advice to them so that they can go on and have a good career in sport themselves. So that's kind of what I've got going on.
I've just had a thought about what you said about the ketosis thing. Sorry, I know we're going back. I'm really intrigued by this.
Yep.
So
Should
people like,
on time if you had questions like this.
yeah, that's fair enough actually. No, I'm being selfish. Okay, but could I ask him?
Yeah.
No, you're the arbiter. Let me know.
You do what you want to do.
You're host. I'm co-host. So you're the big dog.
Okay,
here. You're the sheriff.
I'll give you this
You
one.
got the big boy fans. Okay. So if you look at indigenous peoples around the world still, right? Like say the Maasai or something, I would say they are would you say they're ketogenic for the most part?
Was this on that Chris Hemsworth thing?
I don't know.
Have you watched that?
What?
The Chris Hemsworth documentary?
No, I haven't watched it.
There's a bit.
But I imagine because they're
There's
like
a bit
mostly
on ketosis and there's a bit on
These
some
guys.
indigenous
But
people
wouldn't
that
the
go
base
into
of
it.
their diet be meat
Blood,
and then
meat.
and root vegetables though?
Yeah, but I heard they just drink like their cattle milk and then game they hunt and the cattle's blood.
See,
But that
even-
might be
even
but
within milk,
glorified.
like,
But
you
the
know,
milk would have enough sugar in it to keep them out of ketosis.
Yeah, and this is the thing. This is where, like, to genuinely stay in ketosis, it's
You
very
have to be
difficult.
like real low.
Yeah, and
Just-
you need to take blood samples. Like, you need to measure it.
Okay,
Just like people have the patches now on the arm to look at glucose monitoring.
Yeah.
You've got to do that. Like, if you want to know that you're in ketosis and you're staying there, you need to be monitoring it. You can't just put finger in the wind. And then, like, I've read some amazing articles where people are in ketosis. They consume something that they didn't think would kick them out of it.
Yeah.
They consume it, and then all of a sudden they're looking at the reading and they're like, well, I can't eat that anymore because that's brought me out of ketosis. So,
And just to be eating less than 50 grams of carbs a day.
it's
I mean,
difficult.
just for some context there for people listening, that's like 2 large bananas, and then that's over 50 grams of carbs right there. So it's really quite difficult to do.
Yeah.
So if they are eating vegetables and stuff like that, I think you'll probably find it'd build up quite quickly.
I took some ill advice. Well, not ill advice. I said I was doing this keto thing. I did it in lockdown. I know you're laughing at me as if I didn't do it. I dropped like 10
I'm
kegs
listening.
in like 6 weeks.
That's awesome. When did you do that?
During COVID, I took advice off Dave Atwood.
Yeah, he was big into it.
Yeah.
But he did look at one point outrageous.
Yeah, so I was doing it, but he went, do you know what really kickstart you? Go less than 5 grams a day.
Wow.
Honestly,
Yeah.
when you start looking at food like that,
Yeah.
you couldn't eat anything.
That's what I mean.
Don't even know how that's possible.
Start looking at
It's so difficult.
No, I mean, I was cooking like hake or like some fish, and I'd literally just eat grilled kale and spinach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so hard.
Yeah. How long
Mid-
did you do it for?
And as I said, I did it for about 6 weeks, but obviously all I did was train.
like
train
lower
like-
than 5 grams for 6
No,
weeks?
I did that for 10 days, and then I was under 20 grams.
Can I ask you a question? And this is an honest reflection. Of that weight that you lost,
A lot. I look back.
how much of it do you reckon was fat mass and how much
There's a
was
good
muscle?
combination. I reckon about 50-50.
See, but that's my concern
Mm.
for a rugby player, because skeletal muscle mass for you guys produces power, strength, force. Why would you want to lose the muscle?
But in all fairness, I was a hell of an athlete though. I benched 175 in my own garage. It was like
Oh,
a
yeah.
PB.
Yeah.
Squatting 200. Like this is because I completely agree with you. Admittedly, I wasn't playing rugby, so like
Yeah, that takes some.
like
discipline out of
my
it.
joints and that were like fresh.
And you just adapt
yeah,
into
yeah.
weightlifting and stuff.
But I was running and I was training 3-4 times a day. Admittedly, I was cooked at points.
Yeah,
I was like, but I didn't have to do anything else. I didn't have to function. I didn't have to go see anyone else. I just,
Yeah.
when I was tired, I just led down.
Yeah, and slept. Yeah.
But it's depressing.
Yeah,
no
and
doubt.
and that's the
Your
other
brain
thing.
runs on glucose.
And that's the other thing as well. Like,
Glucose, sugar.
for you to then be sociable with Sophie or meet the lads for a coffee, like, it's very difficult to live a life like that. I'm not saying you can't do it. Of course you can, but for a pro athlete to try and implement that,
Oh, yeah, I
with all
know.
of the social aspects that go on in your life.
I don't think I would be able to take contact. Do you know what I mean? I know it sounds really stupid, but like,
You'd
you know what
die.
we get through day to day, like
Yeah.
even like our lowest days, there's always a
Little bit. Like
Little
today,
bit.
with
Yeah,
you, I was wearing a pink bib and you were still trying to assault me.
yeah.
but
Well, that's
okay.
because you were running like a madman.
No, I really wasn't.
Yeah, and then
I was being very diplomatic, and you were still giving me. I
Yeah.
thought you were being serious. But anyway, back
Unagi,
Unagi.
first time today, and then yeah. But you know what I mean? I didn't feel like I could. Maybe I could run. I was running.
Yeah.
I looked a pretty good Nick,
Yeah.
but like I still was like quite like, do you know what I mean? I don't think I could function as an actual athlete.
Yeah.
I have a similar experience. So I had also a very interesting. So basically, when I was at Bath with Mike, actually, he cooked some of my meals at this point. I had this very, very sinister autoimmune condition where I was like, my knees were just always inflamed, like really bad, some kind of rheumatoid arthritis, right? So I was eating like the elimination diet, and Mike kindly was catering for me. It was like turkey breast and sweet potatoes.
I was trying to. That's
Yeah, he was like, I don't know what to
restrictive list of ingredients. Like I remember, Guy Lewis was a guy who gave me this list of things I could and couldn't use. And
Yeah.
it was like, well, I've never had to deal with that before. It was crazy actually. It was a hell of a challenge.
So I was doing that then, and I was like, all right, you know what I'm going to do now? Because I couldn't get rid of it. And as you say, when you're around people, you could stray, and then you're like, damn it, I've got to start again. It's like a 90-day elimination thing. Anyway, so I was like, I'm going to do a water fast. This was whilst I was rehabbing.
Was
like
that
a crazy,
consist of?
at the end of a hamstring rehab. What?
So what? Like you just?
What
have
does that
water?
consist of? What do you think it consists of?
Just water.
It consists of salt and water. I did it for 6 days whilst training. Felt like a god. Although I'd never do it again while training.
What? All right, again, I know we are running over, and I got Minty over there.
Okay.
Absolutely, but fasting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, that's interesting, isn't it?
I tried a 24-hour fast the other day. It's a battle, isn't it? Like you don't realize, like
What is it called? Mitosis? Is that the
any benefit?
not the pseudo or the pseudoscience that they like to fall back on? It's like the elimination of waste cells.
Well, yeah, there's a bit of that, but I mean, look, there's probably two types of fasting. You've got time restricted eating, and then you've got intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
And I actually think there are times in the week, the month, where you boys probably do time restricted eating anyway. Like there might be periods of the day where it's a long training session, it runs over, there's 3 or 4 hours where you haven't eaten. Of course, sometimes you'd extend that out to 6 or 7 hours. But I think time restricted eating has potentially got its place. I think intermittent fasting every now and then has got its place. But the reality is, as we spoke about previously, if we look at that 2 gram per kilo of protein content per day, if you intermittently fast, it
makes it more difficult.
Yeah, I'm not saying you can't do it, but like when you then do eat,
Yeah.
that's a lot of food that you've got to try and eat within that window. Even if you went at the lower threshold of 1.6 gram per kilo, that's still quite a big protein intake within a 4-hour space before you go to bed. And then, because normally people would wake up, they've already done a fast overnight, and then they'd do the intermittent fast in the daytime. And then if you're going to eat in the evening, you're then putting quite a bit of stress on the gut and the GI tract to consume and break down quite a lot of food in a short space of time before you then go to bed. And you don't really want to smash loads into the gut just before bed, because what you're trying to do then is take blood away from the gut really and relax and calm down and go to bed. But you don't want to be increasing your body temperature.
Yeah.
So there's a time and a place for most things. Like and you know, you mentioned Laurent Bannock earlier. Laurent Bannock famously says the word context, and it is context dependent. Do you know what I mean? Like if you weren't playing rugby and you wanted to go on a shred ready for your holiday, you might do intermittent fasting for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and just accept that you're going to do that with a lot of cardio. Time and a place.
I'll tell you what I normally do, right, if I'm not here. This is what I do. I have a big ass coffee. I have a load of butter in the coffee. I then put a load of collagen, collagen
Granules, powder.
Yeah, collagen powder, not the one that sets though. What's it called? Collagen.
Hydrolyzed collagen.
Hydrolyzed collagen. That's
Gravy.
it.
Yeah.
Gravy. Yeah.
Jus.
Put that in, some sugar, so like raw honey. Stir that up. Boom, down the hatch. Not hungry for ages. Hit a big one meal after that, and I'm good. Whole of the day, I feel glorious. And then in the evening, it'll be like what I just said, like a good, like, I don't know, 800 grams of meat. And
Yeah, but this is what I was saying though. You know how we go through phases of things. Like it's like that. Like
I'm
to me,
impressionable as hell.
Yeah, but like to me, like that's not real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're an agent of the Matrix.
Woolly's looking
You're a
at that.
normie. You're a normie. I'm trying to adhere to God. I
Yeah.
can't even take myself seriously.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean?
No,
It's
but I
like- that's
feel
the
like
biggest thing is
I feel like 3 meals a day was made up by some lunatic who made the food pyramid. Quite simply put, the food pyramid's the worst piece of advice I've ever seen in my life. Oh,
Quite
you
like
should.
it.
They were like, they said like cereal was more healthy than minced meat. Minced cow more healthy than cereal.
But I can't pour Tom Parker's on top of my mince meat.
This is true. This is true. Yeah, but that's my problem with mainstream nutrition. It freaks me out. It's an idiocracy.
Yeah, and I think people get lost at the moment in social media.
Yeah, and then it's like exactly. And then social media is basically, it's like religion diet now. It's
Yeah,
like up
yeah.
there. And then they're like goddamn cults. Oh, what are you? You carnivore man? Carnivore's the way, man. And then there's the vegans, and they're like they're just as weird as the carnivores. It's all bizarre, mate. Oh, are you paleo? Oh, you knew what the cavemen were eating, did you? Exactly, knew exactly what they were eating. Smoked bacon and fucking carrots. What? Your carrots look nothing like their carrots because your carrots are GM crops. Sorry, anyway, that's a
You
rant for
do
another day.
really try to get a rabbit hole out of this, don't you? I think
But that's the best kind when you get to rant about
We're
something.
gonna have to do a spin-off show.
we just go off on one.
Conspiracies and rabbit holes.
Oh, I love conspiracies and rabbit holes. But anyway, when's your new book out?
Last chapter was recorded last night, so I'm actually aiming for September.
Dreamy.
September, when all the students go back, student loans have landed. There's a tactic behind this.
Oh, very good.
Yeah,
Very
and then
good.
it gives me over the summer just to promote it, kind of launch it properly. I learnt from the last one, like I didn't launch it properly. Didn't launch it. My aim is to try and get Amazon #1 bestseller. The problem I've got though, because it's nutrition related, you automatically fall into the category of Tom, Dick and Harry who have got chef books out.
Oh, okay.
Why did you point out?
Yeah,
why did you
No,
say that?
there's no
Pointing
plans
kind
for a
of-
chef book,
Yeah,
by the way.
No, but
Yeah.
what I mean is like you're competing with like B celebrities who have brought a cookbook out, and just because they've got 100,000 followers on Instagram, like
Don't mean know what Jimmy knows. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
it's tough. So anyway, that's the plan. September release.
Congrats. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can really fall down a rabbit hole. Do you know what annoys me at the minute?
What?
Health coaches on Instagram.
Well, what? Do you mean like lifestyle coaches or?
The lot.
business
Just,
coach?
well, no, yeah, well, no. But
Oh, you
know,
mean
like people that haven't
life
achieved anything,
coaches?
but like
yeah, and then they're like
claim
telling
that
you
they-
how to live
yeah,
life.
Yeah,
Are
it's
you,
like,
are you tempted to get one?
I genuinely, do you
But
know?
who would you get?
I
Who would be
genuinely
your life
believe.
coach?
I genuinely believe I'm better off being a life coach than some other people.
Yeah, but I feel like successful.
I'm bringing out a book
Let me-
myself,
let me-
but we'll talk about that another
Let me
time.
hit you
Yeah,
though.
get some tips.
I
Yeah.
feel like a life coach, right? It depends what kind of life you want to lead, but who would be your life coach if you could pick someone? Because usually what you'll pick is someone who's at the top of their sort of, I don't know, industry, whatever it is, their practice. They've mastered it, right? And that the price for that kind of mastery and obsession usually means their life is completely dysfunctional.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Unless they live off demagoguery like the Pauls or something.
yeah,
And
but I
those
don't
that-
even mean. I feel like not even like I don't even mean big names. I mean just like there's lots of people that I know that I like went to college with,
And you're like,
Yeah.
they're trying to tell you how to live.
and I'm like, well, you've not even moved out your parents' house yet.
Yeah, you're
You know
recording
what I mean?
that
Like, do you know,
video.
it's a bit like nothing wrong with that. That's a tough market. But I'm like, all of a sudden these people, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? They haven't achieved anything, so their achievement is telling other people.
You know what this feels like? A bike shed moment.
Yeah,
you know, when we just
and
sat
I just
the world
find,
to
yeah,
rights.
and I go,
Yeah.
and I just, do you know what I mean? I just can't quite. So but that's another thing.
That's enough. We're off in the weeds
look,
again.
All right, look, we're gonna have to wrap it up because obviously we were exceedingly late running because of this chat.
I'm sorry, all again. By the way, thank you so much, Mike and Jimmy, for coming down.
Thanks
it was
for having me on,
class.
boys.
But yeah, I
so
wanted
much
to say thank you very much. Thank you very much for bringing all the goodies as well. 'Cause,
Yeah.
again, and thank you very much for the sponsorship, Kinetic Kitchen. Like, if you can get your hands on any of their stuff, Instagram at Kinetic Kitchen. Obviously, just Google Kinetic Kitchen. You find the website. Again, you two have got a lot more to offer than what we've expanded on, especially out in the World Wide Web. But again, at Morehen Performance, at Chef Michael Bache.
Bache.
I never get it right.
Close enough,
I
lads.
never
Just call
get
him
it
Big
right,
Dirty
either.
Mike.
Yeah, Big Dirty Mike.
No, thanks for having me on, lads.
And you two are very open and helpful on those platforms with everything that you do. So I'd like to say thank you very much for your time today, and thanks Max for eventually turning up. And that'll be us over and out.
Ta-ta.